Unsafe, अच्छा मी ते गेलं. Okay. Today I will learn 7 chapter. Uh, Third chapter is theories, economic just theory आहे. ते आपण पाहणार आहोत. The business trade आणि international याच्यामधल्या याच्यामधले आपण हेड शेअर ओनियन्स थेरी, ट्रेड थेरीज ऑफ द comparative advantage. तर नेक्स्ट लेक्चरला ह्या ज्या थेरी कंपॅरेटिव्ह थेरी नेक्स्ट फॅक्टर इन्सेटिव्ह फॅक्टर अँड ड्रॉस या थेरीज आपण पाहिल्या होत्या. आज आपण फोर्थ चॅप्टर जो आहे रिजनल इकॉनॉमिक्स interaction hot new topics पाहूया. In this unit we learn about economic integrations. We know that we has 194 countries with geographical boundaries. These boundaries are not limited to geography but have restrictions in terms of trade of goods, service and movements of factors of productions. Different countries may come together to remove these restrictions and become economically integrated. Economics integrations among different nations encourage economics development and growth. The basic objective of economics integration is to liberalize trade to restrictions and encourage free movements of goods and services between member nations. Free goods and movements of goods, services between member nation. Free movements of goods and service simulations by competitions among different firms which further simulations their research and development produce good and result in new product and process innovation. This overall process leads to consumers and welfare economics. uh, between members, economics integrations leads to efficient and full utilization of factors of productions and firms can work at optimum plant size. It also attract foreign direct investment in the country, which gives boost to income, employment generations, and economic growth. In this unit, we will study the grains that different countries enjoy the economic integration. We will study about European Union as a case and will look into different types of trade agreement of India. In this unit, main objective, the meaning, role and types of economic integrations. The meanings of a consumer union and different theories of consumer unions, dynamic and static grades of economic interactions. For historical optional process and benefits of European Union, there is international agreements to which India is a party. What is my what is mean by economic integrations? Economic integrations is a process and as a state of affairs. Timbergen source defines economics integrations as the certain of most describable structure of international economic remove artificial hindrance to the most real operations and introducing deliberative or desirable elements of coordinations or unifications. Economics integrations talks about all those commercial policies which reduce the trade barriers among those nations which join together. Belsa in the Theory of Economics Interactions 1969 defines economic integrations as a process and a state of affairs. As a process, it means those members which elementary discriminations between different nations. As a state of affairs, it means offense of various forms of discriminations between nations. Immigrant against classified economics integrations between positive and negative integrations. Positive integrations include modifications of different policy instruments and institutions which remove market barriers with the economics region. Types of economic integration: first one, perfectly trade arrangement; second, free trade area; third, consumes union, common markets, economic union. These types of economic integration. Perfect national trade arrangements means perpendicular trade arrangement. There are low barriers on trade for members nations in comparison to non-members nations. It implements that members countries decide to resume, though not completely get the different barriers to trade. It ordered types of economic integration. And second, free trade uh, areas. Free trade area means in this form of economic integration, members countries remove all trade barriers like traffic, quotas, or administrative hindrances of members nations. But each nation mentions its own traffics with the rest of world. Okay, third is the consume union in consumes members nations abolish all trade barriers among each other and also adopt common trade policy with respect to the rest of the world, and they also harmonize their trade policies with the rest of the world. The best example of consumer unions is European Union or European Common Market was formed in 1957. Common markets, it has the same quality like customs union, but it also allows the free movements of factors of productions like labor and capital among the members nations. European Union has achieved the status of common market. In economics union, it is one of the highest form of economic integrations, a part of free movement of goods, service, and also factors of productions. It harmonizes the monetary of fiscal policy of members nations. The theory of custom union theory of custom union was first propounded by Jacob Wiener in 1950. Subsequently, it is developed by Mary Lipsy, Johnson, Cochrane, Missen, Winnick, and Bhagwati. The theory of consumer union is based on the assumptions that there is common traffic rate on importance from customers will affect the volume of the trade level of production, price of goods, consumptions level in members countries. Trade theorists propose that free trade among different countries is very fair, engaging the world. And economic integration, though is different forms, can be the seen a movement towards free trade. In that case, the question arises: are all attempts to economically integrate with other countries beneficial to the world? The answer to this question is countering, as there can be instances where formations of union with another country may not be beneficial to world as well as some members countries. Trade creations means trade creation occurs when among the members countries of the consume union high cost domestic production in a members country is respected by the law cost importance from another members country. Suppose there are three countries A, B, and C. The cost of providing first unit of X community country one is given the table one below. This country is ABC. Cost of providing X in country one 3 to 1.25, and after percentage tax price in country 3, 4, and 25. The cost of providing unit one of X community in country one is a given is table. Suppose A is a small and does not increase international price of community. To begin with, the has 100% at below rent per unit tax on importers such that the importers from B will cost rupees 4 per unit in the domestic market of and A and importers from C will cost rupees 2 clearly. Will important from C only now if decides to form a union with C, the same importer will cost 1 rupees in the domestic market. Okay. Consumer suffix means increase the consumptions level of importing commodity because of decrease in the prices of with the consumptions and productions effect together lead to create positive effects of consumer. Trade unions means it is not always the case that formations of consumer union will raise the consumer welfare and have trade creations effects. In an earlier example, suppose country A forms a union with B. It implies there will be no tax on importance from but B but 100 tax on importance from C. Now imports from B will cost 2 and from C will be for 2.5. In such a case, will import from because its importance cost less. However, we know that B is not an efficient producer, but with the formations of Union World production has shifting from efficient producers to an efficient one if low cost importers from outside UN are respectively by the high cost importers of union members. In such a case, trade diversions occurs and it may decline the consumer welfare. In this case, two opposite forces work together. One is trade creations and other one is trade diversions and observed loss of welfare depends upon the heavy strength of this force. Benefits from economics integrations, there are several conditions under which custom union is likely to lead to trade creations and increase the welfare of home country. Firstly, geographical locations of members countries affects the volume of trade and level of welfare between members nations. If geographical distance less between two nations, it reduces the transportations and other transactions cost with have positive associations with welfare gain. Secondly, the volume of trade before formations of custom union also decide the welfare. Then, after formations of union, if the volume of trade is large before of formation of union, then it will have significant positive impact on welfare. Thirdly, the size of custom union also matters. If it has more members, it will be more beneficial. It will give boost to more specialization to further reduce the cost of productions. Lastly, if pre-union trade barriers are higher in such a case, formations of union will significantly improve the volume of trade and welfare among members nations. The second is dynamic grains of consumer unions. Dynamic grains of consumer unions is apart from some static welfare again custom union also generates some dynamic gains which are discussed as follows. First one is increased competitions formation for custom union simulations where competitions in the members countries market. Reductions in traffic lowers the prices of products and according to the law or to the law of demands more people demand for this product, it will expand the business of the product. Increased level of competitions also encourage from firms to do more innovations by doing to they may come with new technology and products which provided health benefits. Second is economic scale. Economic scale, because of a market expansions, firms will enjoy economic of scale. Formation of consumer union generate fair competitions in the market, which gives benefits to smallest business union in market, and they are try to utilize their source in most efficient way. They fully utilization plant capacity and reach the optimum size of firms. For example, many manufacturing plants of Netherlands and big Ycmou firms. Simulation investment means this is another dynamic benefit of formations of custom union. Consumer consume linear simulation in previation to the take advantage of large market and to meet the increased competition, sustain economics growth, increase of tension, increase economic scale, more investment by firms result in more factors, mobility, increase output, increase in wage, increase in employment, which are growth driving factors of nature. European Union is the unique economics of political union between 2.8 European countries that together cover much of the landmass. The idea behind the creations of the union is that countries that trade with one another become economic and independent and are more likely to avoid conflicts. The historical roots of the European Union lie in the Second World War. Europeans were determined to prevent killing and discussions from happening again. Soon after the war, European was split into East and West as 40 years along 40 years long Cold War began. The European nations created the Council of European in 1949. European Economic Community as was created in 1958 to internally increase the economic cooperation between six countries: Belgium, Germany, France, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. Okay, the European Union is the world's biggest trade accounting for 60.5% percent of the world imports and export. Free trade among its members was one of the founding principles, and it is uh, committee to liberalize world trade as well. UA has a set of institutions controls. These institutions are European Parliament, which is directly elected EU body with the administrative, supervisory and budgetary responsibilities. European Council, which defines the general political directions and purpose of the Union. European Union Council of European Union, which is the vice of European Union members governments out of European Union laws according European Union's policy. India and international agreements. India and international agreements. Here you will enlist the discuss benefit list some of India agreement with the rest of the world. For perfectly trade agreements between India and Afghanistan. PTA. PTA means Preferential Trade Agreement. To continue actually promote related trade, the government of India and Afghanistan signed this agreement at New Delhi on the 6th day of March 2003. Expansions of their domestic market, though economic integration is a vital requirements for the effectively in the process of economic development. The basic objective of this agreement are follow provide fair conditions for competitions for international trade between both the nations, promote pleasant development of economic relationship between these two nations, though expansions of trade in the implementations of these agreements or the concerning parties shall may due to regard to the principles of reciprocity, removal of barriers to trade for promotions of harmonious development and expansions of international trade. Asia-Pacific Trade Agreements. This Asia-Pacific Trade Assessment signed in 1975. AFTA has five members: Bangladesh, China, India, Republic of Korea, and China. The objective of these agreements are to promote economic development, those continual process of the trade expansions among the developing members countries, though the adoptions of manual beneficiary trade limitations ensure consistent with the respective present and future development and trade needs. Third, cooperative economics and cooperation agreement between India and Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN agreement on cooperative economics cooperations between the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the Republic of the India signed in Bali, Indonesia on October 8, 2003. The basic objective of this agreement was to gradually reduce and eliminate traffic according with specified service. Agreement on trade commerce and ties between India and Bhutan. This agreement came into force with effects from the July 2006 Article 1 of this agreement encouraged the free trade and commerce between India and Bhutan. Attention section of the same agreement talks about impositions of some non-traffic reactions by Bhutan on the imports of Indian goods, but this legislation will not be speaker. than other countries. Free trade agreements between the Republic of India and the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka to promote the free trade, fair competitions in market and expansions of domestic market. The Government of India and Sri Lanka signed the this agreement in 1994. Under this agreement, both countries decided to establish free trade areas by removing the traffics on the movement of goods and services. Cooperative economics cooperation agreement between the Republic of India and Republic of Singapore (CEFCA). The basic objective to this agreement is to expand the trade, investment, the cooperation between these two nations on the basis of artificial WXIV of GATT. This agreement is also tied to promote and liberation to trade of goods between these countries. It also aims to establish predictable, transparent, and facilitative investment arrangement for both nations and encourage for competitiveness and specifically for manufacturing and service sector. This agreement also tried to build health communications at WTO and enhance the facilities economic cooperations and integrations to form a strong relationship between India and associations of Southeast Asian North religions. Agreement of such preferential trading agreements in December 1991 at the sixth SARS summit, it was decided to liberation trade in South Asian countries, which result in establish of SARS preferential trading agreements. This movement behind this agreement also promote traditional cooperation for welfare of um, people by expanding investment and production. This agreement helps people by generate more employment opportunities, also helps them to secure high living standard. This agreement aims to promote intra-regional trade, which currently constitutions negligible in total volume of South Asia trade. So that is the first step of lower down as the traffic in this region. Apart from liberations to traffic, it also works for reactions of paratraffics, non-traffic measures, and direct trade measures. Okay. Revised treaty of trade between the government of India and the government of Nepal. Next, economics partnership agreement between India and the Republic of Korea. To foster the economic development and to encourage economic integration, the relations to trade is good and services, India and Republic of Korea signed this agreement. The subject of this agreement are as follows: strengthening and enhancing the economics integration, celebrations of trade in goods and service, increasing and investment creations and implementations of transfer rules and producer create more favorable environment for trade expansions of new areas of trade and monetary operations, improvements of efficiency of manufacturing sector and make it more competitive between member nations. The comprehensive economic partnership agreement between India and Japan. In this chapter, main point is we have studied the concept of economic integration, its types, and again that accurate to members countries. This information about different agreements is paramount of for managers. It provides the knowledge about these different rules and regulations that they have to follow while working with the different members countries. Clearly, information about economic cooperations and agreements with the countries will be managed to strengthen their international business. Main point is in this trade creations, trade diversions, economics in common market, custom units, preferential trade agreements, economic integrations means this many person. So I will stop this grade. नेक्स्ट पिरियडला आपण 5 चॅप्टर जो आहे द पॉलिटिकल इकॉनॉमिक ऑफ इंटरनॅशनल ट्रेड ते पाहूया. ओके, थँक्यू.